Alrighty guys, what's going on everybody? Welcome back here to another live stream, my friends. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Hope everyone's doing good this weekend. We got ourselves kind of a surprise storm that popped up here. You know, we were watching that system out there in the Caribbean that had that small potential of developing. Well, yesterday the thing kind of blew up into a hurricane. The probability of formation was only like, what, 20-30%? It was pretty low. And, well, the thing kind of took off overnight. Basically, you know, yesterday is when it really started kicking off. But she is a hurricane right now, my friends. We do have a hurricane. This is Oscar. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make things clear with you guys. This storm is not going to be a problem for Florida. I'm going to go ahead and get that out there for the people who's wondering. I did see a couple people in chat saying, is Florida going to be impacted? The answer to that is no. However, there is going to be impacts for like the Bahamas, places of Cuba. We're going to have to really look out for those regions. Let's go ahead and turn down our little thing here. Oops. What am I doing? Let's see. Why am I having a hard time with this? Okay, there we go. Anyways, but yeah, so this is going to be impacting places like eastern Cuba, areas out there towards like the Bahamas, you know, the southern Bahamas. So if you have any trips out there, if you're over in the southern Bahamas, prepare for some tropical storm conditions. The storm right now is a Category 1, sustained winds of 80 miles an hour. I can read 80 sustained, gusting a little bit higher. Current central low is down to 986. Now, we are expecting landfall to occur within the next couple of hours out there towards Cuba. It's going to kind of graze Cuba, as you can kind of see, kind of, you know, go into Cuba a little bit, then kind of pull off here right around tomorrow evening. It should pull away from Cuba, or start pulling away from Cuba, before heading into the southern Bahamas. So, this will definitely be impactful for some of those regions out there. We're going to go ahead and turn on our... let's see. We're going to turn on those town names here so we can kind of see what we're talking about. So we have like Port Nelson out here in the Bahamas. We have like Cockburn Town. Let's see. We got Clarence Town, Salt Pond. Some of those regions out there are going to be kind of in that direct path overall. So we're going to have to really be looking out there for those regions. So if you live in the Bahamas, well, unfortunately, like I said, there's going to be that shot for some tropical weather. If you're down there for a vacation, if you're down there just living there, you know, visiting family, whatever, just please know that there is a tropical storm that will be impacting the southern Bahamas here. The main impacts are going to be really felt here for like the 22nd overall. We're going to go ahead and bring up our satellite imagery here for you guys. We're gonna take a look at that satellite view here. We're going to go towards, let's see here. We could do geocolor, kind of get a nice visible view of it. We're going to have to bring up the Caribbean here, though. Maybe that'll work. Maybe we don't. Well, let's just do infrared here. go ahead and pull up our infrared. Yeah, there you go. So there's the storm right now. The thing is, and the reason why this thing really picked up in strength, like I said, this thing kind of went from nothing to full throttle here in a little period of time. The reason is because the system's core is very tiny. It's a very small kind of hurricane. And typically these smaller hurricanes require less energy to, strengthen and stuff like that. It's really those bigger hurricanes that take a lot of energy, take a lot of, energy overall to basically just kick off. And this storm, like I said, the circulation, the wind field of this storm is much smaller than comparing to other storms. I mean, for example, look at the state of Florida over here. You can see how tiny the storm is. It's a very compact hurricane overall. Oh, let's see here. What's up, Christy? What's up, Lake Effect? What's up, Grace? What's up, Tabletop? Nope, Tabletop. North Carolina's not a concern. Peachy said, hey, Andrew, what's up? Hope you're doing good, my friend. Let's see here. Yeah, definitely nothing going up there towards North Carolina. You're good. Yeah, this will not be a problem for the states. But like I mentioned, this is going to be kind of an issue for my folks out in eastern Cuba. Let's go ahead and turn down our data a little bit here so you can kind of see the land under it. This is going to be kind of a problem for my friends out there in eastern Cuba, out there towards the southern Bahamas and stuff like that. So that's where we're going to really need to watch. It did pulled north. This was that storm that we were watching going north of Puerto Rico and stuff like that. It pulled north as a invest there. It turned into a tropical storm here. I think that was yesterday morning, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. What's up, Rasheen? Hope you're doing good. And then, of course, it turned into a hurricane yesterday. It actually did get up to 86 sustained. That was yesterday at 987 millibars. Right now, we're at 986 millibars sustained at 80. Once again, we are definitely gusting higher than 80. Okay, so keep that in mind. But anyways, so yeah, once my folks up there towards eastern Cuba, towards Baracoa, let's see, out there towards Moa. Like I said, I'm not the best with these town names, by the way, so just take that with a grain of salt. You guys can see them on your screen as well, so you can kind of make out what it is. But Ko Guin, I'm not too sure how you say it. Once again, I'm not the best with that. But yeah, you guys can kind of see out there towards Baracoa, Moa, or just going to say between those two areas. That's where the most likelihood of landfall is going to be. And like I said, it's going to kind of, dig its way inland into eastern Cuba for a little bit before kind of steering back out over Cuba. It'll be leaving Cuba tomorrow evening overall. Cuba does not need this. No, they do not, and neither does the Bahamas. Now, the good news is that the storm is going to lose a bit of its strength as it approaches the southern Bahamas. That's good because, first of all, it's kind of rubbing up against Cuba there. That's going to help slow it down a bit, but also it'll probably be fighting some upper-level winds and some wind shear as it kind of gets associated with a frontal system. We're going to hop our way over here to the models. We're going to take a look at that and kind of pull this up and see what we got going on here. So yeah, we can kind of see here we have that high pressure system that's still positioning in the southeastern U.S. In which that is going to here, let's go ahead and add that little thing here. I still had that saved. But what it is going to do, whoops, here we go. Just want to make it kind of even. But yeah, what that high pressure is going to end up doing is it's actually going to help kind of protect, the U.S. from impact. So that is certainly good. If the high pressure wasn't there, there was a shot that this thing could be impacting the U.S. But that's the good news, is that there is high pressure in place, leading to some nice and sunny weather, which is also helping kind of keep that storm out to sea in a way. So moving over here to the HWRF model. This is the latest and greatest with the HWRF. So you can see here, we're getting ready to have landfall up there in eastern Cuba. The storm's going to rapidly weaken. I believe Cuba's topography out here is pretty mountainous. Let's see here. I'm pretty sure there is a lot of mountains here. Or is that more the western side of Cuba? I definitely know that Cuba does have some pretty big mountains in some spots, but whenever these storms go over mountainous terrain, it really disturbs that lower wind field, that organized structure that the storm is kind of gathered over sea. that gets very much disrupted and basically allows for the storm to also weaken quite rapidly. It's not just because of latent heat loss from the ocean waters, but it's also because of the fact that we're rolling over the land here and everything like that. So like I said, we'll just have to keep an eye out there for the system and see how well it kind of holds up. But like I mentioned, this is going to impact eastern Cuba. We're going to have landfall to later, actually very soon. You guys can look at the time in the top right there. We're going to have landfall here actually within a couple of hours, actually. Yeah, within like a few hours, we're going to have a little bit of landfall here. I don't think we have any cameras out here. I think we might have. Hold on, let me try to pull up a radar. I definitely know we have some Caribbean radars here. I don't know if there's any for Cuba. Unfortunately, it kind of looks like Cuba is like one of those dry spots, one of the dark zones where we do not have a radar. You can see we do have a lot of radar coverage throughout a lot of the Caribbean. Unfortunately, though, like I mentioned, the kind of the point where we need the radar, there is no radar. So at least from what we can view here, there's no visible radar. I mean, Cuba might have its own personal radar out there. I don't know, but we can't really tap into that. But anyways, like I mentioned, eastern Cuba is definitely going to get that landfall here later on within a couple of hours. And of course, we're going to rapidly slow down as we, start to lose that heat. And as that storm's wind field starts to kind of get shredded apart by the terrain of Cuba. But as you can see here, according to the HWRF, as this thing pulls away from Cuba, there might be some mild strengthening, maybe a little bit of strengthening happening. That is a possibility. So we will have to look out there for that. Let's see here. Peachy says, Andrew, join the Discord and apply for mod application. All right, I'll check that after stream, my friend. Appreciate it. Let's see. What's going on, Hurricane in Cuba? Yes, we do got a hurricane that's hitting Cuba within a few hours. It is a Category 1 storm. Once again, currently sustained at 80 miles an hour. Kind of a low-end Cat 1 hurricane. I mean, it's a hurricane. Still, like I said, tropical storms and hurricanes can still, or no matter if it's a tropical storm or a hurricane, there still is impacts with both. In which, in this case, like I mentioned, the point of landfall, we could have some winds, sustained around 80 miles an hour, likely gusting a little bit higher. Central lows down to 986 millibars. There, you can see that we do have some pretty good convection going on right now. If we take a look at the active satellite view, you can actually see that there's pretty good towers out there that we are seeing. And if you look closely, the core of the storm's like right in here. It's kind of hard to make out, but that core is right there. We got a really powerful burst of convection right here, and that central low is like right in there. Our circulation's looking something like that. So they're already likely starting to feel some of those tropical storm, if not hurricane force winds already. We're going to go ahead and bring up the Hurricane Center's page here. We're going to take a look at that and kind of see what the latest advisory has to show us here. Obviously, here's the latest cone from the Hurricane Center here. We do got those hurricane warnings in effect across portions of eastern Cuba. We do have ourselves tropical storm warnings throughout portions of the kind of southern Bahamas. Middle Bahamas, we have those tropical storm watches in effect. Obviously, we are expecting tropical storm conditions across some of these islands here. And of course, once again, Cuba does have those hurricane warnings in place. Now, rainfall potential, this is how much rain we could expect out of the system. We're going to zoom out a little bit so that fits in the screen there. So out there towards the Bahamas, there's a good shot. We could see a good 4 to 6 inches throughout most of the islands. A few pockets of 6 to 8 cannot be ruled out, locally higher amounts. To my folks who are not using the imperial system. So 4 to 6 inches across the yellow, that would be representing around 100 to 150 millimeters here. And across the orange, that will be right around 6 to 8 inches, or 150 to 200 millimeters. Now, if you look closely, where the point of landfall is, like I mentioned, we're going to have that landfall out there towards eastern Cuba, right in here. And at that point of landfall, that's also where you're going to be seeing those strongest rainfall rates and everything like that. We are going to be seeing the heaviest rainfall at that point of landfall, which is out there towards like Baracoa, some of those regions there. Out there in eastern Cuba, which could pick up a good 8 to 12 inches, maybe even more, 12 plus locally from the, I believe this is a WPC forecast here, in which, like I mentioned, 8 to 12 inches, which that would equivalent to right around 2 to 300 millimeters to my folks who are not using the imperial system for more metric. So that is what we're looking at. Once again, the rain does die down a little bit, but the Bahamas, once again, there's going to be quite a bit of rain there for you guys as well. So keep that in mind. Here's the wind history of the storm. You can see that really thin little narrow stretch of hurricane force winds. Now you can see they're coming right at Cuba. At this point in time, we're definitely, like I said, the storm has a very small wind field, which allows that storm to pick up and lose intensity quite rapidly. Like I mentioned, the smaller the storm, the less energy it takes to strengthen. The bigger the storm, the more it's going to kind of distribute that energy across a broader area, meaning it needs a lot more strength or a lot more energy to strengthen, but it also takes a lot more to weaken on those bigger systems. But this is a really small storm. So like I said, this thing is able to pick up some intensity quite quickly. That's why we saw that hurricane literally develop overnight yesterday. Crazy. Like I said, we were expecting about a 20 to 30% chance of overall development. And then overnight, that thing just snapped into existence. Then we got that storm out of that. It became a tropical storm. They quickly upgraded to a hurricane. I mean, it underdid some pretty wild intensification. Like I said, because it's a small storm. It's a very, very, very small disk, very, very small wind field, which, that essentially allows for, less energy needed for that to pick up. But also, like I mentioned, just smaller impacts overall, smaller areas of impacts, I should say. So, at this point in time, we are likely experiencing tropical storm force winds out there towards the coast out there. Once again, we're getting ready to have landfall here within the next hour or so. It's getting real close. It's getting real close to landfall, so we're almost there. Here's your wind speed probabilities as of the currents. You guys can see the little table down here. This is your probability of tropical storm force winds. You can obviously see that, that little that 90% or greater is in that kind of dark purple color there. You can see the Bahamas, they have relatively lower in tropical storm force probabilities. That will likely increase as we do get closer. Because, like I said, this storm's going to be kind of right near the Bahamas, going over the Bahamas here for more of the 22nd. So we still got about 2 days before that happens. Let's see. What's up, Rock? Hope you're doing good. Let's see here. I can't stay for a while now. All right, sounds good, Peachy. Let's see here. The fact that America never converted to metric system imperial is evidence. Well, I mean, I use both personally. I use both metric and imperial. For temperature, I mean, I mostly use imperial, Fahrenheit, but Celsius is a more easier system if you think about it. I mean, 0 degrees Celsius is freezing and 100 degrees Celsius is boiling point for water. So it makes more sense, the metric system does, but, we all grew up using Fahrenheit and stuff like that, which, it's, I don't know. Fahrenheit's more precise because it breaks down those temperatures a little bit more. Because a Celsius is, let's see here, a Celsius is a more of a degree change than a Fahrenheit is, if that makes sense. Let's see here. As in, that storm already hit, so matter of fact, yeah, so that was, was it Nadine, I think the name was? I'm not too sure how you pronounce that to be precise, but that storm did hit as a tropical storm. We did do a little bit of updates on that out there in the eastern Yucatan. We did have landfall. Right now, it's just remnants. However, the storm here is actually going to redevelop into the Pacific. We were watching this here for the last couple of days. We were giving you guys updates the other day on that. This thing is actually forecasted to redevelop. And matter of fact, let's actually take a quick little peek at the models here. We're gonna look and see what's going on here with that storm. So let's hop over here to. Let's see, do they not? Oh, there we go. 15L, perfect. So you can see how we're just gonna redevelop out there. Now the HWRF has this thing spinning up pretty crazy like a saw blade. That's what I'm saying. They look like saw blades when you play them like that in motion. But yeah, so I mean, according to HWRF, this thing could get a pretty big storm. Wow, very large eye. Look at that. Very, very, very large eye there. But yeah, no, that system did impact the eastern Yucatan as a tropical storm, and it's gonna, redevelop into the eastern Pacific. HMON here shows that storm. Doesn't really pick up on that storm, honestly. HFSA. Some of the runs do that. They just kind of get lost. Let's see here. HFSA here shows that system. Yeah, also redeveloping there. Could be pretty strong actually. could be pretty strong. Quite a decent sized system too, according to it. Maybe in the late forecast, it could start to run into this dry air, as some of the models do kind of project here. We're going to pull up the Eastern Pacific view. Here's the GFS model, so you can kind of see it kicking off. Now, the good news is that, yeah, like I said, this thing's not going to be much of an issue for anybody in the Eastern Pacific. I mean, the only thing it's probably going to do is it could, I don't even know about that, honestly. I was going to say maybe, I mean, it's going to create some pretty rough waves out here, of course. But honestly, I doubt there's going to be hardly many effects at all from this system. It's mostly just going to be a fish storm. So, you know, not really too much needed to really focus too heavily on that system. But I just wanted to mention it for you guys there, too. Actually, let's go back, and we're going to pull up Euro for a minute. Because Euro is actually in agreement with GFS here, as you can tell. So that is interesting. Any other possible storm developing in the models? Not really for the Atlantic. No, the Atlantic seems pretty calm. Now, there is... Now, don't take this with a grain of salt. This is extremely far out. There's been some talk of maybe some development in the Caribbean for the late portion of the month. You know me, I don't like looking far out. A lot of people would take this very seriously. I wouldn't because of the fact it's still very far out. And it's been kind of consistent with the GFS for a little bit here. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. You know, we'll have to just keep an eye out there for it. But really nothing crazy going on in the Atlantic, honestly. Things are looking pretty good overall, except for Oscar. And like I said, Oscar's a very, very small storm there. Actually, look, we just got an update from the Hurricane Center here. Whoa. Dude, I did not gonna do that. Yeah, still sustained at 80. Look at that. We're now gusting up to 100 miles an hour. Currently, this is the most recent update that just came out here, 5 o'clock update. So yeah, I mean, look at that, 80 sustained, gusting up to 100. We're still down to 986 millibars on that storm there. She is right, yeah, exactly where I was talking about, where that central low is. It's right in there. It's about to go over land here very, very soon. As we approach our way into tomorrow morning, we're going to be over Cuba, out there towards this area here, as you can read for yourself, near La Clarita. I think that's how you say that. That'll be tomorrow around 2 a.m. Like I said, we're going to have sustained winds around 65, with gusts up to 75 here. Like I said, we're gonna rapidly weaken as we approach the afternoon tomorrow. We're gonna be sustained around 45, gusting to 60. Because, like I said, there is quite a bit of mountain ranges. You can actually see the topography under the map here. You know, Cuba does have a lot of mountains in it. So that is something that we're gonna need to just monitor, see how well it kind of reacts with that. Then, you know, basically here for the morning of the 22nd, that's when it's going to really start to pull north and kind of pull out of Cuba. Then go next stop to the Bahamas, towards like the southern Bahamas here. And at that point here for the afternoon overall, as you can kind of see, it kind of holds strength, you know, as we approach away for the afternoon of the 22nd. That'll be whenever the center will be near the southern Bahamian Islands, in which... tropical storm conditions will be, you know, expected out there. Like I said, not really losing or gaining strength for a while until we kind of pull up to the north of Bahamas. So right now we are talking, like I said, this thing kind of being kind of a low-end tropical storm for the Bahamas. Now, like I mentioned, you know, once again, even tropical storms can have, you know, decent impacts. So keep that in mind. You know, don't just be like, oh, it's just a tropical storm. It can't do nothing. That's false, and that's where you're wrong. Even low-end tropical storms can cause some problems. You know, flooding, for instance. Still some strong winds could create some mild damages, as well as, like I mentioned, I mean, you know, the waters are still pretty rough out there. So keep that in mind. You know, keep that in mind overall. Peachy says, I'm back. Leaving soon. Sounds good. Tabletop says, I'm hoping that we can bring this hurricane season to a landing. I'm tired of resupplying my hurricane stock. Gotcha. Well, you didn't really need it too much out there, tabletop. You know, like I said, North Carolina's luckily, I mean, while we do get hurricanes out there, it's not as common as other places like Florida. Here in Florida, where I'm at, we got beat up. We sure did. I mean, we had Helene that rolled through. I got tropical storm conditions out here in Lakeland. And then we had Milton, which literally went right over me, and I was in the eye wall of a Cat 2, which was pretty nice. It was kind of exaggerating. But, yeah, it was... us in Florida got beat up. I mean, if you're talking about people who are tired of resupplying their hurricane stock, talk about Florida, not North Carolina. I mean, seriously. Let's see. I'm glad I'm in Southern Ohio. Yeah, you don't got to deal with these systems up in Ohio, thankfully. Sometimes, you know, if they're a fast enough moving storm, Ohio can get remnants of tropical systems, depression even. You know, I don't know about storm, but you know. Anyways, but yeah, I just want to go and give you guys a little update here on the system here. Once again, this other guy here, you know, Nadine, I think it's how you pronounce it. This one's getting ready to cross back into the water here in the Eastern Pacific, where it is expected to redevelop into a hurricane. Matter of fact, look at that. Over the next 2 days, next 2 days, we have a 70% chance of development. And then throughout the next 7 days, through the next week, we have a 90% chance of this thing being, you know, a system. And like I said, this thing is actually forecasted to be a hurricane. You know, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing did become a major hurricane at some point. You know, the way the models were talking, both GFS and Euro seem to really be on the agreement. The fact that you know, that is a possibility. So we'll keep an eye on it. Thoughts and prayers to those in path. Absolutely. But if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to let us know. We're going to hop on back to models here. We're going to take a look back here at the GFS. Now, to my folks more in the inland places, just a quick little weather update for you guys. So obviously we still have that high pressure ridge out here in the southeastern U.S., keeping things very, very quiet. Matter of fact, look at this. We're going to show you guys something pretty interesting here. If we take a look at the satellite imagery, actually we're going to... global sectors. We're going to pull up here. Actually, we're going to go continental. We're going to go U.S. here. There we go. So if you look closely, if I can... does this fit the screen? It does. Good enough. So if we take a look at the true color, there is not a cloud in the sky in the eastern U.S. I mean, look at this. This is all open except for that little place there. But you see what I'm saying? No, there is literally not a cloud in the sky over here in the eastern U.S. I mean, there are several states that are just open to nothing, but just the open sky. So that's what that high pressure is doing right now. It's really just kind of allowing for, you know, things to remain dry, you know, pretty clear and stuff like that. So that high pressure is just going to kind of sit around for a little bit. As we approach our way into the 22nd, it'll be kind of squished to the east there. Be thankful, because this system here is also kind of what's, you know, what's also kind of keeping that tropical system away from the U.S. So that's good. So if that high pressure wasn't there, then there would have been a chance of this thing hitting Oscar hitting U.S., but it's not, thankfully. Then, of course, we approach our way into the 22nd, 23rd. You notice there's another little dip here. We have another high-pressure ridge pulling in here. We have a trough, you know, that low-pressure system, and higher pressure building behind it. Let's see here. Then that higher pressure kind of building behind it here overall. Now, whenever it comes to it, let's see here. We're going to go ahead and pull up our temperature anomalies. So this is something I want to go ahead and pull out for you guys and show you, is that we do have ourselves pretty cool conditions actually expected here. Overall, you can see here for the Ohio Valley. This is for the 24th overall. You know, we could get pretty chilly up again here towards the Ohio Valley and stuff like that. So I want to go ahead and pull that out. But, you know, for a lot of the U.S., I mean, actually, for the next several days, we are actually going to be in relatively warmer conditions. we're going to be in relatively warmer conditions. We just got done with that big kind of cool shot. That's almost done. At least for the next couple of days here, we're going to have, some cooler temperatures, cooler than normal temperatures, I should say, in the southeastern U.S. But then, like I mentioned, things are going to be heating up for a little bit, at least for temporarily for some of these places, except for like the Ohio Valley, like Michigan and, Ohio and some of those neighboring states there overall. Let's see here. It's a nice day in Michigan. Gotcha. Yeah, it's pretty nice here in Florida too. We just got a few showers actually popping up on my radar here. Got a few little storms. I don't know if you guys can see it. Look at those over there. See it? Yeah. So we got a couple storms out here in Florida. Otherwise, pretty nice. Pretty nice as well. But anyways, all right, let's go ahead and hop our way back here. But like I mentioned, you guys, we are literally about a couple hours away from landfall here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hold on one second, you guys. But yeah. What's up, Braven? Hope you're doing good. Well, yeah, we're just a few hours away from landfall here. The core of the storm is right in there. You can kind of make it out here. Let's hide that cone for a minute. At least what we're going to do is we're going to turn it down a little bit here. There we go. Turn it down a lot. So there you go. So right in there, that's where the core of the storm is located. We have still some pretty heavy convection going on out there. Let's see. We're moving here to the west-southwest. How fast are we moving here? How fast is she moving? Or I guess Oscar. Let's see. So it is moving to the west-southwest at 6 miles an hour. So it's not moving super duper fast, but we'll be crossing over land within a couple of hours here. Right now, like I said, sustained at 80. Overall, we're gusting to likely around 100 miles an hour right now. We're definitely gusting pretty heavy out there, and like I mentioned, my folks along the coast, y'all better be braced and ready to go. This was kind of a difficult system. We really didn't have much time to prep for this storm here because of the fact that it kind of just blew up overnight yesterday. The thing kind of really took off yesterday. So, like I mentioned, it's just, like I said, hopefully you guys are prepped for it. Overall, like I said, it is a smaller storm. It's not like the size of like Milton or Helene. Those were big systems. I mean, you can see compared to Florida, the storm's pretty small. And actually, if we were to do a little measurement here from, that's about 50 miles. The main convection's about 50 miles or so. It's, like I said, it's a very compact storm, and that's why it was allowed to basically pick up a lot of strength in a short period of time overall. So that's kind of what we got going on there. Let's see here. But anyways, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up here for now, guys. Just wanted to go ahead and do a quick little update here on Oscar for y'all. What's up, Kathy? Saying, what's going on? Going on. I'm in here in Charlotte County, Florida. So, Kathy, we're actually watching a hurricane getting ready to impact eastern Cuba. Like I said, this storm kind of blew up overnight. This was a storm that had that. I don't know if you're here for those updates, but we had like a 20 to 30% chance of overall formation. This thing exploded overnight. I literally went to bed. It was like a 20% chance of formation, and then I woke up and it was a hurricane. I was like, wait, what? I literally thought it was a glitch at first, but no. Crazy, dude. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, we're just kind of talking about it. It's been a Cat 1 for about a day or so now. I mean, it was yesterday, early yesterday, night before last was whenever that all went down. So it's making landfall in eastern Cuba as a Category 1 storm here. And then, of course, it's going to kind of sweep through, kind of pull up to the north here, and then it's going to come towards the Bahamas, the southern Bahamas. My folks out there, we got to look out for it, 45 sustained. It's kind of the ballpark of where the strength will be as we approach the Bahamas here for the kind of the 22nd into the 23rd. So that's kind of when the main impacts across the Bahamian Islands are going to be. But like I mentioned, this is not a threat for anywhere in the U.S., by the way. This will not be a concern for anybody here in the United States, so we're good. Like I said, the good news is the fact that we have this big old high-pressure dome here that's kind of helping protect the system here. It's kind of helping to protect the storm. This thing kind of rolled in, and like I said, it's going to kind of interact with that high-pressure system and kind of steer its way to the north here overall, and then go out to sea. Long range, here, let's hop back up the models real quickly. Long range of the storm here, like I said, it doesn't look like it's going to be picking up any strength once it pulls out of Cuba. If any, very marginal. You can see here we make landfall here. This shows 5 p.m., which is right now, but we're within an hour or so of landfall out there in eastern Cuba. Then we pull away. Like I said, maybe 1,000 millibars here pressure. Then it kind of fluctuates. We could get into the 990s according to this model here. Then as we pull up to the north, the storm just kind of weakens. Doesn't really do much. I think it's because of dry air. Yeah, absolutely. This storm since day one has kind of had a big problem with dry air. It's going to kind of lose a lot of that moisture once we make landfall and once we pull away. Yeah, that's why we have a little bit of strengthening, because that little bit of that moisture, according to this model, comes back, but can't take them that serious, But yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye out there for it. It just looks like it struggles to hold on to any moisture, and then it just kind of dies. Also, it looks like at the same time, there will be some pretty strong wind shear as well with the storm here. Yeah, you can see it there. Back to the western Atlantic here for a minute. Yeah, so you can kind of see that storm remnants right there. But yeah, there will be quite a bit of wind shear as well. Yeah, look at that big jet. So do I have a P.O. box address? I do not, my friend. I do not. I actually I wanted to do that a long time ago. I never kind of got around to it. I do not. But yeah, so like I mentioned, that's just kind of what we got going on here, my friends. We'll definitely make sure to to keep an eye out there for it. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. But like I said, we'll keep you guys updated with everything. Like I said, I would go live for coverage with this, but Cuba's one of those places where we don't really have much information from them, as you may or may not know. So, like I mentioned, we have radar in the Caribbean, but that does not include where Cuba's at. The only thing we'd be able to look at is just satellite imagery. That's about all. I mean, we don't even think we have any MEDAR stations out here. Cuba's a very interesting place. Very cool place, actually. Let me pull up the MEDAR here. We don't have any MEDAR stations. Kind of sucks, but like I mentioned, if we did have more available information like live cameras and stuff like that, then I would go live. See, I'm on a cruise ship around the Yucatan. It's really rocky. Oh yeah, I'm sure. First of all, enjoy your cruise, my friend. But second of all, yeah, no, it is definitely that way because we just had Nadine here. Nadine, I think it is. Which that storm's kind of shredded. It's like it went through a paper shredder, basically. But it's actually going to redevelop into a hurricane again once we get into the Pacific. But yeah, we had a tropical storm roll through towards like Belize City. Which was in the eastern Yucatan just recently. So those waters take a bit of time to kind of calm down and everything like that. So, But yeah, guys, like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Like I mentioned, we're here for you guys. We'll continue to keep you all updated with these storms and everything like that. Once again, if you guys have any final questions, throw it down in the chat. And if you haven't already, consider leaving a like, subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. Like I said, for the U.S., there's really not a whole lot of craziness going on here. We did have a bit of a severe weather event here yesterday. Matter of fact, ooh, got another extension today. Hold on a minute. We're going to hop to SPC full screen here. So we got a slight risk today, actually, 5% tornado risk? No way. Honestly, I didn't know that. I thought it was just small marginal. They must have upgraded that. Here, let's take you guys over here for a minute. We're going to pull up our radar. Let's see here. Albuquerque radar. Got a couple storms. This one's out of service. Yeah, we lost data a little bit ago. Here, let's turn up our data. Opacity here. There we go. We got a couple storms firing up. I don't think these guys are severe yet, though. Here, let's... Severe thunderstorm warning, turn those on. No, but we do got flood watches out here, though. Special weather statement, wind gusts up to 50. Yeah, we got some pretty interesting weather today up in New Mexico. Like I said, a little bit of a severe weather event going on. I would also go live for this, but there's really not a whole lot of populated areas. I mean, a lot of this radar coverage is pretty bad for 1, 2. It's pretty rural. Pretty rural out here. Let's take a look at the models real quickly. Why don't we? Go ahead and just take a quick little peek at the models, see what the HRRR has to show us. So it does show, ooh, you know what? We might go live for this later this evening. I might actually pull some live coverage today. That looks like it'll be needed. Look at that. We might have a couple supercells in there. Yikes. We got that lower level jet building in pretty late. I don't know, y'all. I think we might pull coverage tonight. We'll go live around midnight or so for you guys. So we'll do some live coverage on the storms here up in New Mexico. So my New Mexican folks, just keep an eye on it. We'll be live tonight for it. Yeah, you can see that low pressure system up there, that mid-level low. That's positioned there up towards, what is that? Yeah, Colorado. Keep an eye on it. Is there going to be a warm, is it going to be warm here in western New York on Halloween? Well, that's a little far out still. I think models have the country being relatively warm for Halloween, but remember, that's still a good, 11 days away. There's a lot that can change in 11 days, I'll tell you that. You know, at that point, we're like 250 something hours out. The models for Halloween have this being relatively warmer than normal. A lot of the country will be relatively warmer. The west might be a little cooler. The east and central might be a little bit warmer than normal. Remember, that's that. Yeah, the models are. You can still see. Look at that. One of the previous GFS runs actually has a cold front rolling through at that point. So there's obviously still a lot of uncertainty with all that. So take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, I mean, Euro's long range barely even goes out that far, but it does show it as well. Maybe a cold front. We'll keep an eye on it. Once again, it's still not for sure. It's still several days away. Let's see here. But what major town is in that area of New Mexico? Well, all of this is going to be east of Albuquerque, which Albuquerque is I think it is the biggest place in New Mexico. My mom's actually in Albuquerque right now. But yeah, all of that activity is going to be east of Albuquerque. You know, a lot of these places are relatively smaller towns. Not a whole lot of population included. I think we have in the slight risk area here. If we hop back to the S-piece, we'll do the full screen here. Fit at the screen there. So in that slight risk, that level 2 severe weather threat, we have a population of almost 200,000 people. That's 36,000 square miles. It's a very low population, high density, or very low population over a large period of land. Marginal has about 654,000 people because that also includes portions of Texas and actually Colorado as well. So that is that. Let's see here. Just got a notification from Cashapp. James, thank you so much, dude, for the $3.50. I appreciate your support, my friend. Thanks so much, James. You're awesome, dude. Thank you, man. I really do appreciate that support. Big shout out goes out to you, man. Thank you. I didn't see you in the chat, but appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. Definitely helps us out a lot. Helps keep us afloat, which is much appreciated. So thank you. Let's look at dew points out here. Oh yeah, look at that. So we're kind of riding a little front there. Oh, you can't even see that. There you go. So our dew points, they don't have to be as high as like some of these other areas. We can roll with dew points in the 50s up in the west. Perfect. You know what? Like this is, look at that. Just wow. A big old dry line there. You have 30 dew points to like 62 points. That's crazy, dude. That is pretty crazy. Pretty wild. Yeah, the jet goes pretty aggressive in like Texas and so forth. Pull tornado parameter here. Oh yeah, look at that. Seems like the main event according to models shows like 8 p.m. Eastern, which would be like 6 Central, being like some of the heaviest. I don't know about all that. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Yikes. Yeah, we could get a couple discrete supercells out here. Those are the ones you got to really watch. Those are the ones that like to produce tornadoes. Yeah, look at that low up there towards Colorado. Right there in the quad state border there between like Nevada, or sorry, not Nevada, Utah, see Colorado, New Mexico, and out there by Arizona. But yeah, we're gonna pull coverage late on this here tonight. We'll probably go live around midnight or so. I'm thinking, actually maybe a little bit. No, we're gonna go live a little bit earlier, maybe around 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern. So we'll be live for this. We'll be covering that. Alrighty, but all right, everybody. Well, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up here for now. Once again, I appreciate y'all for joining us. We're gonna pick up on some coverage tonight around 8 o'clock or so. So hope to see you guys there. Once again, if you haven't already, consider leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button. It'd be greatly appreciated if you haven't already. And all right, everybody, thanks for joining. We'll catch y'all later on for some coverage and everything like that. And we'll, like I said, we would do coverage on the hurricane, but we don't have much information about it other than satellite imagery and stuff like that. So, all right, everybody, thanks for joining. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace out, my friends.